This is the Flathead Valley Sports Haven, a new segment where I highlight current and former Flathead Valley area players, coaches, and sports figures celebrating the best athletics our valley has to offer. The Flathead Valley Sports Haven is powered by Logan Health, and today's guest is Willie Roche. Willie is a lifelong Whitefish native going to high school here and has become a fixture in the community. Willie is the head coach of the Whitefish boys track team. So, Willie, a long time coming. Glad to finally have you on here.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, good to talk to you. And yeah, just been listening for a while, and it's super fun to just hear all these kind of like local celebrity, Brett Bullwig, Cole Moses, just fun to listen to.
It's a lot of fun too. It's a great to just kind of highlight the area too in general. As you know, Whitefish, the Flathead Valley in general, it's just been lacking coverage, I feel.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, at least on this front, right? I mean, we've had pretty darn good news coverage, I think, for a really long time, and pretty darn good journalism for a long time. But I think that, yeah, the media as media evolves, I think that this is such a cool medium and such a cool way to kind of get more inside information into community stuff.
Well, you and I both were Whitefish natives, kind of born and raised here, been here our entire lives. Why don't we start off with take me through what was it like growing up in Whitefish? What does it mean to you to be from Whitefish, Montana?
Oh, it's the greatest. It really is. I mean, that's the main reason why I wanted to come back here and raise a family here. Right. I mean, it's still small town community. I think it's the perfect size of community, right? That, like when we were growing up, probably like closer to 6,000 range to 10,000 now or whatever it is in the summertime. But yeah, I mean, growing up, you knew everybody, both my parents being teachers. I was always in the schools, whether it was the middle school, elementary school, high school. You knew all the coaches. And then the cool part was, like if you would back this up too, you got to watch all of your idols like come through high school,
Hmm.
right? You're just like, you watching Tucker and Taylor Furta, and you're watching, I guess the whole Furta clan. But you got the Metzels, right? I mean, like everybody super fun, and those are the kids that you dreamed of being, right? I mean, you had like the Bulldog posters in your room, you had all that, um, and then my dad being in the schools coaching both middle school basketball and then some football here and there,
He's
baseball.
coached both of us.
I know, yeah, right. And so it was like we could go to the gym growing up, and like playing pickup ball or pickup baseball, or it was amazing. And like I very much wanted that same thing for my family, right? A tight knit community, the one where you're tight with everybody in your grade, and all the parents and all the teachers and coaches, and it's a big deal. And I think it's a bigger deal than what people give credit to. Just that tightness.
But you touched on it, the idols from a young age. Who was maybe that kid that I guess teenager, high schooler, whoever it may be? Who is that guy that kind of got you into sports? Like for me, it was Kurt Paulson. I remember playing one on one with him when he was in high school, and that's like what got me into wanting to play basketball type of thing. Do you have like a memory of that? Is there like a guy that, or even a gal that you look at that was like that was the moment that you knew, hey, I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to play sports.
Yeah, good. I mean, yeah, good question, man. I mean, I just say there's a lot of them. I think, a lot of them were either like my dad knew in school or my mom had in school or driver's ed or I remember going to a lot of middle school basketball games and middle school basketball tournaments with my dad and his team. And so I do. I remember Alex Mitchell, right? And that was a really good basketball one for me. Watching Alex all the time. But we grew up right down the road from Delgados, right?
Yep.
So like literally right down the road. And Jose had he was always like the stud basketball player,
Yep.
really fun to watch. But Vinny really, uh, he came over one Christmas, right? And he came, it was like not on Christmas Day, but it was one of the 4 Christmas days. And he came over to our house, kind of, I think, with a Santa hat on and just a grin. And I'm sure my dad had him, like, hey, man, did you do this? And it was so cool because it was like, yo, that's the guy that's playing on Friday nights. Like, that's the dude. That's Coach Delgado's son, right?
Hmm.
And he came and he's like, hey, guys, like, I got you some Bulldog gear. Or it was like, I think it might have been a Bulldog pennant or something. And like, when you're like 5, 6, 7 years old, that is the coolest thing, right? Because we didn't have the internet back then, so you're not researching all these people on the internet or whatever. And it's
Yep.
like, dude, that's your local legend, right? So I would say, yeah, Vinny Delgado he's just that dude,
Yeah, Jose was kind of that guy for me. I remember Jose a lot more than I remember Vinny, just from
hmm
a basketball standpoint,
for sure.
more than anything. But I mean, yeah, being from the valley too. Now that you're older too, you see it more. There's a connection. No matter how old you are, whether you were in high school 30 years ago to 10 years ago to in high school now, one thing that you always hear about is the community support. I mean, we see it at football games every Friday night. Saw it out at the baseball game the other day. The girls basketball team, each and every game this year, it seemed like there was more and more people. That community aspect, what's it like for you playing in front of it and now being a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was a it's just an evolving time, right? So when I was playing, it felt like there was more, right?
Hmm.
And I think in essence there was too. I think today we have an evolving community, and especially post-COVID, evolving community where pre-COVID, or at least when we were in high school and middle school, it felt as though the school was almost a cornerstone of the community, right? So
Yep.
like all the parents, and not all the parents were teachers, but you knew they were insurance agents, right? Or you knew that they owned a restaurant, or the
Yep. Mom
Bulldog,
and
or
pop shop
exactly
downtown.
right.
Yeah.
And so it was like everybody would show up to those games, and you would know every family. It's like there's the Akies, there's the Metzels, there's the Mays, there's the Furtas. And I would hate to see that die now, right? So I mean, that's kind of what a lot of us coaches in the school and teachers in the school we're trying to kind of bring back, right? Is that product of what are you doing on Thursday night? What are you doing on Friday night, on a Saturday? Bring them, bring them to a volleyball game, right? Well, let them idolize some of these young women, these young girls in our school, right? Basketball wise, bring them to a game, right? I mean, it's an incredibly positive place to be. It really is. And yeah, I think I really want that for my kids. So every chance I get, I watched a lot of JV girls basketball this year, right? Because he goes to bed before the varsity game starts. So I'm like, man, and he loved it, man. He's engaged. He's watching those JV girls play, and it was so cool. And it brought me back, right? Like this is what my dad must have felt like watching, my brother and I kind of play around and mess around in bleachers while the basketball games were going on.
And then, I mean, you became a multi-sport athlete yourself here in high school. Track, obviously, played football, basketball. Take me through playing athletics here in Whitefish, wearing that green and gold, and what that means to you, especially now that you're back in the school teaching here.
Yeah, it was everything, right? I mean, I do. I bleed green and gold. I love this school. I love this community. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to come back as well, right? I had phenomenal coaches growing up, all through middle school, all through high school, and you can attest to that. Not every single coach was great or perfect, right? But learned a lot of life lessons from them, right? And that was one of the cool things about diversifying my sports is like, I mean, you can attest to this too,
Hmm.
right? The culture from this team to this team, very different,
Yep.
right? And I wouldn't say like bad or worse. I would say just different. When you would go from football to the basketball team to track and field in the spring, and then I played Bleacher Twins too, and they were all different. And I'd say I just got such a great experience there socially. You interact with different coaches, you take different things with you. And yeah, I would encourage like any kid, right? Like do as many of these as you can. Get these experiences with your teammates that you're never going to get after you graduate, right? I mean, you're going to reminisce about those. Like, shoot, man, the amount of Cole Haven stories that I tell people. I mean, good Lord, like
Oh
Roche
gosh, this
weekend
can't be good.
stories. Yeah, I mean, they're so good, right? Like I tell the two frickin' hearts story constantly,
Oh,
right? Where
yep.
Pizzazz is like, you got two
Hmm.
freaking hearts. And like moments like that, and I guarantee you, Siliker, and I guarantee you, Austin, and Blaze, and
Yep.
all these guys, they remember the exact same thing, right? They're like, it was the people that shaped us, right? Like it takes a village, and I was very much raised by the village of Whitefish High School sports.
Wasn't it you that gave me the nickname Hollywood?
And that's what I was telling the other day. The kids called you Hollywood Havens, and I was like, what did you just say? And they were like, Hollywood Havens. I was like, where did you hear that name? And they're like, that's just what everybody calls him. And I was like, yo, that started with us, dude. Like, you can't just pull off our nickname for Cole, right? Like,
I actually never knew that anyone else knew
oh,
that.
absolutely. The high school kids, they're like, oh, yeah, Hollywood Havens. And I was like, Hollywood Havens? How do you know Hollywood Havens, dude? Because, they're looking at our class photo over there. They're like, is that Cole? Is that Havens right there? Is that Hollywood? And I was like, yeah, that's him, man, in the flesh.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Oh, that's funny. I might have to moniker that one.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, let's go into your time here playing sports here. Obviously, we know you went to play collegiately, did track and everything, but I want to go before we get to that. Take me through playing basketball here, playing baseball, playing track and field and everything. I mean, you were one of the better athletes in our class and everything. At what point did you know maybe that you could play collegiately?
Yeah. I mean, thanks for saying that. But I mean, there were so many good athletes around us, right? I mean, and I did. I learned from the best, right? Like I wasn't the best high jumper. Full Idol was the best high jumper. So what did I do? I glued myself to Colt and I watched what he did, right? At practice, at games, whatever. Same thing with basketball, right? We had these guys that were older than us that we got to
Hmm.
like, that kind of mentorship
That senior class that was
piece.
ahead of us was.
Oh man, it was phenomenal,
Hmm.
right? And that's in every sport. And so, like, I give a lot of credit to those guys with the way that they led, which is really good. And then just like the people around us, we had great coaches, we really did. But we had great teammates, really
Hmm.
good teammates. There wasn't this culture of like, I got to get mine, right? I got to get my points, I got to get my assists or whatever. It was like, yo, we have to get this win, right?
Yeah.
And it was every single sport. There was not this, look at me, look at me.
Well,
It was
we never really had that guy that went out like
true,
that too. I
true.
mean,
No,
we
100%.
had a bunch of guys that had to play together if we wanted to win.
Correct. And that's, I think, let's go back to freshman basketball, right? Like who instilled that in us? Mark Kazavsky.
Hmm.
He was like, yo, I don't give a rip who you are unless you are like diving on the floor hustling,
Hmm.
right? I mean, you had to have taken stuff from that.
I think I had a few bloody elbows after a couple of
Just
games.
running into a couple walls at full speed, right? Like literally selling out for the team. And I think that that's like a big piece of life in sports and like, being a basketball player, being a football player on the track. That was huge to me.
And you already touched on it too, being a multi-sport athlete, how one sport helps you for the next. How much did playing basketball, did playing baseball, did everything else, playing football help you in track, which is the sport obviously that you went on to
Oh, immensely.
go to for Carroll.
Immensely, right? And I didn't actually ever plan on being a track and field athlete at the next level. Actually, to be honest, I tried to quit track my junior year. I went into Derek Schultz's office and I was like, Coach, I really want to focus on baseball. Like, I feel like track's starting to take away from my baseball. We had just started twins, blah, blah. And he kind of like, to his credit, and at the time, I think I didn't like it, but in that meeting, he said, you're not just like quitting on track and me, right? Like those three guys on your relay that depend on you
Hmm.
for a potential state title, right? That's bigger than what you think it is, right? And I would rather have part-time you than no time you, right? And he kind of it wasn't a jovial conversation, right? Like he read me the riot act, and by the end of it, I was like, you know what? It would be selfish of me to quit, right? And so I kept with it. We did pretty well my junior year. But I think what's funny too is he's like, you're letting your relay team down, and I got lost right at the finish line that year because he's like, you running fourth. I ran third all year, and he's like, you and oh, who was it? Was it Anto Dowd? I think he was like, you and Anto are switching. Anto's
Oh,
running third, you're running
geez,
fourth,
that's
and then I
funny.
got passed at the line by the Laurel kid, and I was like shattered.
Looking back on it, Anto should be my God, that dude
Oh,
was fast.
oh my God. He was a stud, man. All those guys, right? I
Hmm.
mean, Dalton Rice, you look at
Yep.
Brew Coco, all those
Yep.
guys. I mean, they were studs. But yeah, I would say tearing my ACL my senior year of
Yep. I
basketball,
was
I
going
would
to get
say
into that.
that really kind of pushed me towards what do I want to do next, right? Because I think in high school, I'm super glad that we as human beings mature post high school, right? But looking back, I think I'd made athletics a lot of my identity,
Hmm.
right? Like I wasn't necessarily in school to do school. I was in school because it allowed me to play sports, right? And I think when I tore my ACL, and now you're faced with this, now what, right? Now
And
senior year, yeah,
life for the first time, kind of in a sense, giving you, hey, what do I want to do?
yeah. Who are you
Hmm.
actually, right? Like who is Willie? Who you're not just basketball player or whatever.
Yep.
And so it was like you kind of get faced with that on a needs basis. And I had planned on going playing college baseball at like a junior college or something like that, and then hopefully working my way up. And it just, God has this way of like throwing curveballs, right? Like to use the baseball metaphor
Metaphorically
too.
speaking,
Yeah, right. Um,
and literally.
yeah, literally too. But yeah, I think at that moment, a lot of my options kind of went away, right? And I think I told Cody Hill, and I was like, man, like I don't think I'm gonna do a sport in college. And I mean, you'd have thought I just told him his dog died. I mean, he was like, "Are you kidding me? Like what? Like you're joking? Like you're one of the you're if you don't do it, no one should do it." And he kind of read me the riot act, and I was like,
That's how we looked at you. You were kind of you were our leader in that way, type of thing.
I appreciate that, but I didn't see it that way. I did it to have fun, right, with my people.
Hmm.
But yeah, I liked track and field enough that I just reached out to Carol and that. But going back to your question about multiple sport athletes. I think that's super underutilized by our kids today, right? I think what's being pushed by our society is
Specialization.
specialization, right? And like an early specialization.
Hmm.
And to me, it's this lie that kids are getting told, right? That's saying like, hey, if you don't do this year round and give everything else up, you won't ever play at the next level. And I'm like, man, there's so much against that, right? I mean, you
Hmm.
look at really good football teams,
There's
right?
no number, there's no scientific evidence to back that up.
Correct, right? And but at the same time, on the radio, it's cool. I mean, there's the orthopedic surgeons advertisement right now that's talking about how like, it leads to one burnout, right? I mean, that's
Hmm.
tough to measure, but at the same time, it's leading to these serious injuries that are repeat
Yep.
injuries, right? And it's like, yeah, if you're going to do the same repeated motion over and over again, like not even serious injuries, you're going to get tendonitis, you're going to get all these other things
It's
that are
all
going
those
to
little stuff that leads
correct.
up.
And so, like for me to go from football to basketball, similar in some ways, but very different motions and very different movements.
And
And then
mentally, different
100%
mindset. You're thinking different. You're
correct,
approaching things differently.
correct. And but learning how to compete, right? So
Hmm.
like competing in an entirely different
Yep.
way from track to basketball to whatever. I think that that's so important for anybody trying to go to the next level, right? And we've had college coaches come and talk to us, and they say, like and Mac too. And it's like, well, what do they tell you? What do they ask you about kids, right? And one of them is like, yeah, what else do they do?
Hmm.
Right? Because a lot of times they want athletic growth, not necessarily a specific skill set, because they can coach a
Yeah,
skill
they
set.
can mold them
Yeah,
into what they want.
correct. So, like, even with Carol and Carson Crack, right?
Yep.
They were like, okay, you've never thrown javelin before, and you're going to be a decathlete here. They told Carson, like, hey, don't throw jav this season and don't practice it in the summertime with someone else, right? We want a blank slate of your athleticism, and we can coach you to throw javelin. And then what does he do?
Mhm.
He goes and wins the national championship, right? And the same thing with Walburn. They're like, don't learn how to pole vault. Don't learn how to pole vault. Like, and I was a pole vault coach at the time, and I'm good friends with Gary,
Mhm.
the coach at Carroll. And I was like kind of hurt by that, but then I was like, it makes sense, right? Because like, what if I start to give him some bad habits that
Yep.
they're trying to break?
Or it may not even be you. Maybe he just picks something up type of
There
thing.
you go.
And it's probably harder to get him to not do that than it is to just teach it the way they want the first time.
Correct. Yeah. And so I would, man, if I could encourage one thing for athletes in school, it's do multiple things and do one thing at a time,
I
right?
think that's one benefit that we have here of growing up in a state of Montana, too. I mean, everything's so spread out, right? Missoula is the nearest metropolitan, if you will, to us, and that's still a tiny, tiny place. But I think that's one thing where it really helps being here. You kind of have to play multi sports here if you
Totally.
want to have fun, if you want to do something. Because if you're only playing one sport, this is Montana. There's not enough seasons in
100%.
Montana for one sport.
Yeah, and it's been no offense to baseball, but like baseball, right? That's one of the reasons why baseball hasn't been in Montana. It's like if you're specializing in baseball early, man, you should go and play, do
Hmm.
something in the winter, do something, and you can swing and stuff, but like you shouldn't be focused only on one sport, right? And I'm not picking on baseball because I love baseball and I
Oh,
played
you know,
baseball,
yeah.
right? And so, but I'm just, I don't want sport specialization.
But when you think about baseball, it's pitchers. It's really the
Mhm.
specialization in pitchers that have the problem because they're not doing anything else. One thing that benefits you from playing a second base or a shortstop, you have to learn how to throw in different arm angles. You're not throwing over the top, or else you're going to hit a runner in the head. Basically, you have to learn how to throw sidearm, three quarters arm. That's why I think you need to play other positions, even in baseball,
Yeah.
because you have to learn how to move your arm differently.
Yeah, and well, and being in a small town, you kind of have to,
Hmm.
right? They're like, shoot, we don't even have anybody else sitting on the bench over there. We're gonna throw you in right
Yes.
field or whatever. And so yeah, you got to learn that diverse skill set, and sometimes it's the best learning is just I'm gonna throw you into the fire,
Hmm.
and you're gonna adapt to it. And I think that worked really well.
And too, I remember growing up too, like that's something that I thought, looking back on it, I realized how much more fun it was. Like I remember being younger, like I would hate when I got put in right field and wasn't playing second base. Now that I'm older, I'm like, man, I wish I would have wanted to
Right.
play right field
I know,
more.
same. That's the exact same. I was like, man, I wish I would have played the outfield a little more, but
Because it's a different game
it
for out
is.
there. You have to watch it differently. Your mechanics have to be different. You have to throw different. It's so I kind of wish, yeah. Looking back, I'm like, Man, I should have taken that more as a blessing when I got in the
Exactly.
outfield.
That's exactly right.
But when you're younger, you look at that as a demotion when it's really not, type of
Correct.
thing.
Correct.
Um, let's go into collegiate lead. Talk to me about the decision to go to Carroll. Again, you kind of touched on it, the ACL injury and everything. You kind of beat me to the punch talking about that. Take me through, let's go actually before going into Carroll, take me through recovering from that. What was that process like? I got to imagine looking back on it, that was probably a bit of a darker time for you.
Yeah. Oh, it was. And, as someone who's always grown up moving, right? All of a sudden you can't do that. And it's like, that's the one, that's what you did. And I think for me, a lot of movement too, or even sports was kind of like a remedy for ADHD, right? Because I would 100%, call myself someone who has ADHD.
Twitching foot, all that
Yeah,
kind of
right. Like,
stuff.
or, just the lack of focus, I think, when
Hmm.
sitting in a desk at school. And that was me. But I think the best remedy was to be moving around, right? To like go to practice every day, to, get good fuel in your body and do all those things. But um, yeah, it was dark. I do. I remember it vividly.
I remember the day when it happened too.
Yep. I was
It was in
guarding Nick
Columbia
Henderson,
Falls.
right? And yep, on kind of a west side of the court. He drove to the bucket. My foot got caught on the inside of his, and I just heard the biggest, loudest pop I
And
could
I've
hear.
yeah, you made a noise that to this day I can still hear.
Yeah, and it's even in my own ears, blood curdling. And to be honest, I blacked out after that, right? Like I don't remember anything until waking up in the training room at Columbia Falls. And then it was funny too. It was like before the girls game, right? So there's the whole girls team for
Hmm.
Columbia Falls kind of sitting there wide-eyed looking at me scream, right? And just cry and bawl like an ugly cry, right? And that was like it was a little hard to look Chelsea DeWitt in the eyes again, but um, yeah, it was no, you're fine, you're fine. I've gotten over the trauma. You're fine.
That's funny.
It was weird. And then yeah, I mean after that it was like I think January, and so um, it's like okay, the whole rest of the season has to
Yeah,
happen,
it
and
was early in the season.
I
That's
wanted
right.
to support you guys as much as I could, but I really couldn't do anything except for cheer you on, and that's what I at least did. But yeah, the recovery process, I had to wait because I had the unhappy triad of ACL, MCL, and
Yep.
meniscus. And at the time, we didn't even know meniscus, but later in college, I got that operated on too.
Oh, geez.
I know, but it would wait because the MCL had to heal before they went and fixed the ACL. But yeah, I would say the rehab process was tough, grueling. Listen to a lot of Eminem, right? Like listen to I don't know how many times I played Eminem's Not Afraid while I was walking a stair climber, like you start to learn how to do stuff from a basic standpoint. You're like riding the bike and you're all of a sudden excited to ride a stationary bike because it's all you can do for the first time, right? Or stair stepper or whatever. And I had Pat Gulick as my physical therapist. Outstanding. Actually, like really made me want to become a physical therapist at the next
Ah,
level.
okay.
That was one of the reasons why Carroll too, because they had just outstanding pre-PT and pre-med. So figured out later that I didn't want to do that, but it was great. I mean, he lifted my spirits as much as he really helped me with my leg too, and kind of got me back into the mindset of this is a temporary setback. And you are going to get better from this. You are going to return to what you did before, and you just have to believe in that leg, right? And I think a lot of
Hmm.
after you tear your ACL, a lot of that is like the nervousness factor when you start to return to running or
Yep.
jumping or cutting. And it was my jump leg, right? So um, that is one thing that they, I would say not something that they think of during rehab, but I think Pat did a really good job of kind of preparing me mentally that I'm stronger than I really think I am.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, so that was big. And then, starting in at Carroll track, I couldn't do everything.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
ultimately, how did that maybe help you going to Carroll? I mean, obviously, everyone's journey, everyone's path
Yeah.
is different, but I feel like looking back on it, maybe that was what had to happen for you to go to Carroll,
Oh,
if you know what I mean.
it 100% did. I didn't have Carroll on my radar in any way. And my mom went to Carroll, right? But at the same time, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to go in state. My sight was on Gonzaga. I was going to go to Gonzaga to play baseball, or I was going to go to Everett's community and then transfer to Gonzaga or whatever it was. I had my plans. And yeah, it was like your plans, those are adorable, right? Like that's really funny.
Life was like, hey, watch this.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then, like I never would have ended up at Carroll. And some of the best friends I've ever made in my entire life were my teammates. And they were in my wedding and I was in their wedding. I'm still keeping in contact. We're planning trips with them. We go skiing. A lot of them live in the valley too. Um, but it changed my life in such a positive way that I never could have saw this terrible thing as being a good thing, right? And then it eventually evolved into the best thing for me, right? Like that was where I was supposed to be.
Isn't it funny how just things just work out like that?
It is. Yeah, I mean it is.
How about your athletic journey at Carroll? Take me through maybe some of your top memories from being an athlete at Carroll. What was it like to compete at that level?
Yeah, I think one thing that I didn't understand in high school was the level of athlete, the next level, and at every level. Okay, so I could have walked on at the Grizzlies, right? I had meetings with the Grizzlies, and I could have gotten a scholarship with Carroll, right? Those were my two options for track and field, and I took the Carroll because I went to both campuses, saw both teams, was like, you know what? I feel like I'm kind of gravitating towards Carroll. And Carroll didn't have a track program prior to that, so we were the first year,
Okay.
which was really cool. But I kind of thought I was going to come in and be the dude, right? I was like, okay, I was good at track in high school and these are my times and whatever. And I was like, okay, this is an NAIA program. I'm going to come in and I'm going to kind of be the dude and I could not have been more wrong. Holy cow. The first guy I talked to, he was like, I understand you're on the track team. I was like, yeah. And, we were kind of just talking and he's like 6'4", like just shredded like a Julian salad. And he's listing off his stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's like the most athletic human I've ever heard of, right? And he's in the Hall of Fame at Carroll now, Troy. But it was like a definite eye opener and an ego check, and kind of a like swallow your pride a little bit, dude. You're definitely not as good as you thought you were.
I love how though the stigma of going to a Carroll, of going to a Western, of going to a Tech is changing in that regard right there.
100%. I mean, it really is. And I can't really speak to football, but there are some phenomenal football players at those frontier conferences, right?
hmm
And
I
track
mean,
right
your
now
brother
too.
played for Carroll.
100%,
hmm
right? Yeah, and he could have 100% played at the next level too, and had his opportunities. But I'm glad he went with Carroll, and I'm glad he's in the position he's in now. But yeah, uh, it was eye opening, and the freshman year goes by, pulled my hamstring in the first indoor meet, was excited about it, redshirt indoor, so now I go into outdoor, actually competing, and we qualify for nationals for the 4x4. And I was like, this is really cool. And our coach was like, you guys are the last team in the nationals, right? Like you guys are dead last. I'm not going to take you guys this year, right? He goes, but I am going
Oh,
to take you next year if you qualify again. And so my goal then became go to nationals, go to
yeah,
nationals.
you had maybe that purpose, right?
Correct. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you have a goal, right?
hmm
And so you're still
Goal. There we
recovering
go.
from your knee injury and all this other stuff. But yeah, so then tried the decathlon, kept getting hurt, kept getting hurt, kept getting hurt. I just could not stay healthy, and it was always my hamstring and on the side that I tore my ACL too. And so I had this conversation with my coach at the end of my sophomore year after not making it to nationals again and kind of always being hurt. And he was like, "You have two options, man." He's like, "You can never do anything as a decathlete because you cannot stay healthy." Right? He goes, "Or we can train you as a mid-distance runner for the rest of your career, essentially 400 and 800." And I was like, dude, whatever it takes for me to do something, to play, right? Like I didn't
hmm
care what level it was or whatever. Like I just wanted to do something. I don't want to watch my teammates have
Yep.
fun, right? And so then, yeah, started kind of just training for the 400 and 800 as specialists there. Not easy.
How'd you like the 800?
Frick, man. I only ran one, okay? But it was in competition with another 800 teammate for a spot on the 4x8. So we qualified in the DMR, and then the 4x8 qualified the next day. And the coach was like, dude, sorry, we're only taking the DMR because it's the same three guys. You can't run both at nationals. And he was like, well, they're ranked number 4 in the nation and you're ranked number 6 in the nation. We're going to take the number 4 ranked. So I was like, crap, man, that sucks. But he said, if you race their number 4 guy this next weekend and you beat him, you'll be on the team and he won't be. This is like a freshman from Wenatchee. And I'm like, I mean, I never really trained for the 800. And then I started training for the 800. I got beat.
It's the hardest event in track and field. I don't care
Dude,
what anyone says.
so painful.
hmm
It's so painful. And as a
It's a
400 runner,
400 on steroids.
well, you do the 400 and you're like, oh my gosh, I got a whole nother lap, right? And in indoor, you got 2 more laps. So
hmm
I'd only ever run that much, right? And so then you double that. It was insane. But I ran a good 800. I mean, I ran sub 2, ran a 158, but I didn't make it on the team because that hurt again, right? So then it's like, okay, that coach then kind of he got a bad deal at Carroll, and he went to CSU Pueblo. We got a new coach. Now we got a 4x4 team, and we got this freshman from Helena. So we had 4 of us, all 4 guys from Montana, right? Ben Cutler down in
Oh
Kalispell,
yeah.
Stephen Delaney, he was from Charlotte, and then this Kyle Nickel, who's a stud kind of capital kid, and he's coming in. But all of a sudden, we have 4 guys that are sub 50 runners in 400,
And all from Montana.
and
That's cool right
all from
there.
Montana. And that was what was really cool at nationals because from in the Frontier Conference, you're like, so what, right? A
Hmm.
lot of people from Montana, but you get to nationals and there are dudes there, right? There are dudes
Hmm.
that are on their Olympic teams at like Barbados that you're racing against. And it's kind of eye opening. So we qualified for nationals. We go to nationals. I think we're ranked number 9 in the country, and we have a chance at possible All American. And I'm the slowest guy, right? Like I'm the coattail rider, right? Like that was kind of my role. It was awesome. Like all three of these guys were sub 49. They were flying.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think the fastest I ever ran was a 48.7 split and a 49.1 open.
Still pretty good too.
It was good. I was proud of myself, but
Jeez.
like at the same time,
Just
those
shows you
guys,
how much.
holy cow. I mean, you have Ben Cutler running like a 47.6. And he's, a second away from the Olympic trials. Stephen Delaney runs a 46,
It's crazy.
whatever. And, so these guys are flying. Um, and we do. We run a really good race at indoor, and we end up taking third place, fourth place. Gosh dang it, I gotta look at it. Fourth place. Sorry, we were third in the 4x8, so fourth place in the 4x4, right? And just a blazing fast time. And actually, at the time, it was the fastest a team in Montana had run all season, right?
Wow.
So
That's
we were
impressive.
beating the Grizzlies, and we were beating the Kings, right? And so that was exciting. And then
Carol.
I know, right? And that's where I was kind of like, there's not that much of a difference between these levels at the time, right? And they had their individual studs, right? They
Hmm.
very much did.
Yep.
The Grizzlies did, and Cats did. But like from a relay standpoint, it was like we're competing with the D1 schools right now, right? I mean, we're running a 4:13. This is lightning fast. Sorry, 3:13. I get the girls and the
Yeah,
guys
you're
mixed
good.
up. But yeah, so that was a highlight, I would say, and I would say that those being a part of a relay in track and field is the one time that you get to do something with someone else, right? It's individual and it is a team sport, but like misery loves company. When you're running that 400 and there's 3 other dudes that have to run it
Hmm.
with you, and they're in as much pain as you are, there's something binding about that, right? Something cohesive, that you're not alone. You're not alone out there on the track. And so, man, those guys 100% my brothers, right? And they are, I'll be friends with those guys until I die, right? And it's nice that Ben's down in Glacier, and so I
Hmm.
get to see him a lot. But the other two guys come to the Valley all the time, and it's, we pick right back up where we left off.
You're listening to the Flathead Valley Sports Haven. We'll continue along with Willie Roche, head coach for the Whitefish boys track team, after a quick word from Logan Health.
Is pain or weakness holding you back? When the pain cramps your lifestyle, consider joint replacement. At Logan Health Orthopedics, their total joint program provides proper education, support, and guidance during your journey. Orthopedic nurse navigators walk you through the entire process, from decision to recovery. Their surgeons use the latest technology to get you back to activity quickly with less pain and fewer restrictions. Visit logan.org/ortho to learn more. Get back to what you love with Logan Health Orthopedics.
Back from the break here on the Flathead Valley Sports Haven, continuing our conversation with head coach of the Whitefish boys track team, Willie Roche. Though, I think one thing that I love more about anything with that little story there is the metaphor of sports and life. Like, that is the ultimate metaphor of sports and life. So take me through, obviously, you get into the coaching ranks and everything, but how did maybe, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but maybe that learning moment of, hey, I'm maybe not the guy. Like, there's athletes above me that are better. How did that maybe help shape you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is humbling, right? Like you start to really think about others, and their needs prior to yours, right? And you're not the dude, right? Or you're not even top 3 of the dudes, right? And so, you learn to kind of take the sideline route of, all right, I have to train and I have to work that much harder than these guys just to even stay on this team.
Some would say that's the best thing to have to happen to people.
It is, right? I mean, if I think back in high school, the dude that worked the hardest, his name was Cole Havens, right? And so it was like, I'm always competing against Cole Havens, whether we're running a 17 or whether we're running whatever, right?
Hey, no one beat me at 17.
I know no one beats you. That's my point, right? Like I'm like, that's the dude I'm gonna go work as, and that was you, right? You had to work that much harder, right? And that is the best life lesson you can get,
Hmm.
right? That you actually are working towards something as opposed to you're naturally talented.
Yep.
And those guys were hard workers too, but like it made it a point for me in workouts to try to beat those guys, right? And it was someone that, like, I think there was a question a while back on, they were interviewing Kobe Bryant, and they said, "Would you rather be the best player
I remember. Yep.
on the
I've heard
worst team
this.
or the worst player on the best team?"
Hmm.
And he's like, "I would way rather be the worst player on the best team because then I'm learning and I'm getting better from the best, right? So I'm actually developing my game. And if you're the best player on the worst team, you're never going to get better, right? As a human being or as an
Yep.
athlete. And so it was like, that was such a cool thing for me because I had to improve. I wasn't naturally talented enough.
So take me through then. College gets over and everything, and obviously you're a coach now. Was coaching something always in the forecast? Is that something you always knew you wanted to get into? And if so, how did you kind of fall into it?
Yeah, about halfway through my junior year, my coach, I was having some issues with some things on the team, right? And I was providing some solutions to him. It was kind of like, hey, this is what we're feeling. This is what I would like to see. And he said, you're going to make a pretty good coach someday. And I took that to heart and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is something that I want to do. One, because I've had great coaches in high school and I saw that the impact that they played in my life, I wanted that for the next generation too, right? I saw how they did that, not perfectly, but great, right? Again, you had Brett Bolwick,
Hmm.
right? Like to have Brett Bolwick there and learn from him, and he was my spiritual mentor at the time too, right? So,
People don't
um,
realize he started Young Life here.
exactly, right? Very cool with Young
Hmm.
Life, but also to have him as my football coach, right? Like he was on that team. You know, you have some of these legends like Pat Dryden and Mike Furta, a couple Hall of Famers,
Hmm.
right? And then you have Ryan Boyle on there too. Aaron Phillips, heck, Aaron
Yep.
Phillips and Ryan Maltman
Hmm.
freshman year. It's
Yep.
just some of these guys that really, really shape who you are. And you see the impact that you can then turn around and go and shape others, right? And then, Jeremy Anderson, I
Yep.
wanted to be
Who you've kind
everything.
of taken over for
Yeah,
class
yeah,
wise.
yeah, right. I was like, that was funny because I was like, I wanted to be everything that Jeremy Anderson was. He was this awesome coach. He
Yep.
was this awesome dad. He was one of my favorite classes in high
Great
school.
teacher, not just that, but he didn't teach you as it wasn't a student teacher relationship. It's a person to person
It
relationship.
was, yeah. I mean, he 100% treated like a human being,
Hmm.
right? And he cared about you. And so, like that stuff, Derek Schultz, Mark Pizzazza, all those guys. And I just so many good coaches in my life. The greatest coach ever being my dad, right? And I think there's a lot of people out there that would say their dad is their favorite coach. My dad was hands down my favorite coach, right? I mean, everything that I ever want to be in a coach, he was. Everything I want to be in a dad, he is, right? And so, um, yeah, I think that I wanted that for the next generation, and that's why I wanted to get back in it.
Did you always knew you were going to come back to Whitefish to do it?
No, oh my gosh,
Was
yeah.
that always in the works, or how did that maybe come about? Because I mean, talking about taking over for a legend.
Oh gosh, multiple legends, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I knew I wanted to come back to Whitefish, but it comes back to the like God throwing you curveballs thing, right? So like long-term relationship with a girl, I thought I was going to be in Seattle. That's where her family lived, right? And I was okay being in Seattle. I'm applying for jobs in Seattle, all this stuff. Living here temporarily, student teaching, but never heard back from any of those schools in Seattle. And eventually she dumped me, right? And so now I'm kind of back to square
Ah,
one.
life.
Don't have a job yet. I don't have a job. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. This was in the spring of, I think 16. I just got done coaching here um, my first year. And that was a terrible situation too, was, I'm stepping in for Rob Carter, who had passed away the previous
Yeah, I
fall. And
forgot.
so,
Oh, I forgot about that.
yeah. And so that's actually how I got my coaching job initially when I was student teaching. So it was really like heavy hearted, right? I was like, hey, this is not the way I wanted to get a job, right? Like, and Rob was a legend. He really
Hmm.
was. And I don't know if
He
anybody on
coached my
that,
brother.
I don't know if anybody on that
Hmm.
staff cared more about kids than Rob Carter did. And so trying to fill those shoes was staying impossible, right? But at the time, didn't have any plans. Didn't know if I was coming back, whatever. Derek said, you're
And
more
you're
than welcome.
surrounded by an incredible coaching staff
I
too.
am, yeah. So I had a PE and education degree, right? And that was all I had. And there were no jobs open at the time in the Valley at all, right? And so, uh, long story short, right? Jeremy Anderson leaves for Dillon. And I was like, man, that would be such a cool job. And I can't remember who it was, but someone encouraged me to apply for it, right? And I was like, well, I don't have any, I love business. I have half a business degree from Carroll. I just had stopped to go into education and they didn't have a business education. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply for it and see if I can get a provisional
What's
license.
the worst that could happen,
Right?
right?
Exactly. Applied for it, went through the interview process, felt pretty good about it. But that day I was driving 13 and a half hours to Young Life camp as a Young Life leader over in Oregon, right? And I'm in a rental car. I just interviewed at 8 a.m. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And I get to like the Tri-Cities area of Washington, and I get a call from Carrie Drown. And Carrie's like, hey, and I'm just about to lose service. So I'm panicking that I was going to not, I was going to lose, blah, blah.
Lose the
Right
call.
before that, he says, we would love if you would come lead people in our school as our new business teacher. I'm like, I couldn't, I had to pull over because I was freaking out so much. And I don't know if Carrie even remembers that phone call, but it was one of those like crossroads moments in your life. Right. And then Derek was like, well, absolutely. You'll have a job coaching with us too. Right. So it was like the dude that I very much saw as a foundational coach in my life, Jeremy Anderson, right? I now get to step into his literal role, right, as a track coach and as a business teacher. And so it was insane, right? And then a couple weeks later, I'm in Las Vegas for a bachelor party, and I meet my future wife randomly, in Las Vegas at random, right? Never met this girl in my life, and then eventually we started dating and married. But yeah, it's never really everything in my life that's been a good thing has never ever been my plan, right? It's always been God's plan. It's
Sometimes
always
that's the
been
best
outside of
way to
my
have.
control.
I mean, that's really the best way to have life
It is.
happen.
It is. Like
Kind of the no
everything I asked for.
expectations.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Everything I wanted, everything I needed, but asking for in the completely wrong way. Which is really cool. And then now, yeah, like being a coach here is amazing. I
And
really love it.
and not just that, but you start coaching. Now you're the head coach. So not only did yeah, I forgot about the Rob Carter situation. So
Mhm.
thank you for reminding me about that. But then now you're filling in for Derek Schultz. I
Oh
mean,
my
one of
gosh.
the greatest coaches in whitefish history, if not the greatest coach in whitefish history. I mean,
Hall
he's
of Famer.
maybe top three of the names you think of when you think of great coaches. To take over for him, and I mean, Miss Blackburn, I mean, she
Totally.
did so much with the girls program that now Beckwith has and everything. What does it mean to be the head coach? What does it mean to be in those shoes now?
Yeah, it means a lot, right? I mean, this program is a storied program, the Whitefish Track program. I mean, you think of all the greats. If you walk the
Hmm.
hallways, right, the old hallways now that it's demolished, but
Majority of them are track kids.
I mean, all the Hall
Hmm.
of Fame, all the All-State. I mean, it's unbelievable how successful this track program has had, and kudos to all the coaches that have come before me, and yeah, Kellyanne Blackburn, Derek Schultz, Pauline Sullivan,
Hmm.
Scott Furta. I mean, all of these longtime great coaches that really have. It's like someone builds this great house, right? And then they throw you the keys and they say, add on,
Hmm.
right? And you're like, oh my
Yep.
gosh, I don't want to mess up what they've built, right? But I do want to add next chapters to the story. And so I had the opportunity to learn under Derek for those 5 years prior to his retirement, right? And then the good thing was I didn't have to step in solo to head coaching,
Hmm.
right? They split it back up to guys and girls, and Kellyanne was the girls coach and I was the guys coach. And so
Another
it was
phenomenal coach to
it
get to
was oh my
learn
gosh,
from.
and our skill sets very much matched each other, right? She was very very organized, and she out like gosh dang it, she knew kids, right?
I
Like
remember I remember her
she got
one
kids.
of the first workout lessons I remember from Miss Blackburn is you won't see the results from your best workout for another 10
Yep,
days.
totally, right? And then I mean, that's how you build
Hmm.
throughout a season, and yeah, man, gosh, it was really, really, really good to work with Kellyanne and to just learn from Kellyanne every step of the way. And yeah, the way she dealt with kids, it was just legendary,
Hmm.
right? And especially our young women,
Yep.
right? Like the young girls in our school, gosh, they would be nowhere close to who they are if not for Kellyanne,
Hmm.
right? And so yeah, I've just been so blessed to come into that situation.
How
And thank goodness a lot of the coaches just stuck around for me and Matt's tenure.
how did you get the head coaching job? Was it something you had to apply for, or did Coach Schultz say, "Hey, it's yours"? Like, what
I
was that like?
think he was kind of like alluding to at some point I'm going to retire, and at some point Kellyanne is going to retire, and I would like
Hmm.
for you to think about stepping into this role. And, he never told me that. So this was just things I inferred,
Yeah,
right? That
gotcha.
like, the way
Action.
he would bring me into decisions that were not assistant coach decisions.
Hmm.
And then, they actually had assistant heads for track and field. So it was like Derek was the head coach, then they had assistant heads.
Hmm.
And so I was boys assistant head and Kellyanne was girls assistant head. And so, yeah, then when it opened up, Kellyanne and I talked about it and we're like, well, we both believe that we would be very good head coaches, right? I believe I would be, and she believed she would be. And so Kellyanne had the idea. She's like, what if we just split it? What if we go to the board? we asked to split it into a boys head coach and a girls head coach, but keep everything else the same. It would be only on paper that we would be boys and
Hmm.
girls head coach because we would run this program the
Yeah,
same way. And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. Right. And so then we applied, we both got it, ended up, yeah, I mean, it was such a good situation.
I love that. And then, I mean, I just lost my next. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, how much now that you've shared all that, how much does that conversation in his office back in high school, how much do you maybe think about that, if at all? Because it sounds like that wasn't just a meeting for your junior year of high school for quitting track, but I mean, that seems like that, in a sense, that meeting shaped your life.
Pivotal moment, right? I mean, super pivotal moment. And it was a testament to how much he cared, right? He cared, sure, about the relay and he cared, sure, about track and team points and everything, but he cared more about me,
Hmm.
right? And the value that I could receive from the track program by not letting me quit, right? And I think about that conversation all the time, especially with recurrent athletes, right? There's always some that are like, I'm thinking about quitting, or I'm thinking about not doing it, or I'm thinking about not coming out, or whatever it is. And I kind of have that same conversation of like, you'll never get this time back,
Yep.
right? Ever. And there's some stuff, I was telling you, you'll play pickleball for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, you can play golf the rest
You'll
of your
play
life.
golf the
Yeah.
rest of your life, but your body right now is as good as it's going to be athletically. Why would you not use it in something like track and field? And then,
You'll
like,
never regret doing something. You will always regret not doing something.
100%. Yep. And then, with track and field, what Derek built and what everybody prior to him built and what has sustained and what Matt and I tried to continue is this team culture,
Hmm.
right? And so you are a part of something that is bigger than you. And in a world where society tells us it's you, man.
Hmm.
You're him, you're her, you're whatever it is. It's like this offers the opportunity for kids to live outside themselves, right? To be a part of something bigger and more purposeful than just how good can you sprint,
Hmm.
right? Which is
Yep.
a big piece of it, but it's how good can you sprint with three of your best sisters out there with you on the track,
And
right?
how about this for you now? Now you go from being a Coach Schultz athlete who gets to play at the next level 10. Now you're coaching athletes that go to the next level. A Brooke Zatuni, and Aaron Wild, a Lee Walburn, a McKenna Ells, uh,
You name it.
Haley Ells. I mean, now you're coaching these kids that are at the next level. What does that mean to you to see them being able to chase their dreams and not only do that, but those names I just list off? I mean, we could have an Olympian, another Olympian from Whitefish first, maybe for the track program. I mean, to have those kids, I guess they're not kids anymore, but those
Mhm.
young men and women going to chase their dreams. How much? I mean, that's probably got to get you teary eyed. I imagine.
It makes me look very good, but that's what we always say. Like the track coaches, we're like, man, we have had some athletes over the years. They make us look good, right? Like our role as a track coach is nowhere near other roles in other sports, right? I mean, the amount of time that the football coaches put in to scheme, to strategy, to character building, to everything, right, is infinity times more than what a track coach does, right? We get really good, really fast kids, right? And we try to improve them marginally, right? We try to improve them marginally. We try to create a culture of cohesion, a culture of positivity, things like that. But that's where our role ends, right? And so you have someone like Brooke or Haley or Katar Olson or Lee Walburn or Gabe Menick or Talon Holmes. I mean, all of these just absolutely phenomenal athletes that you named. And those are all just kind of the last 10 years. You go even
Hmm.
farther
Yep.
back, you got Marlo Schultz, I
Yep.
mean, you name it. Um,
I was just thinking recent under
yeah,
your coaching.
correct.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's more of a testament to them and to their families, right? And to their other coaches in their other sports, to their friends. It does. It takes a village. We're just one very small piece of that. And I'm glad that we kind of were able to spark them that the next level of track and field is available to them. Like I always tell them, man, like if nothing else, it's a great way to pay for an education, right?
I was going to say one thing too that I always look at, because when you think of track, I mean, numbers speak for themselves. There's what, 500 kids that go to school here, and you got what did I read? 120, 130 kids out for a track. That's 25% of the entire school on the track team.
Yeah, and again, that's what Matt and I want to create. Track and field is separate from any other sport. It is for everybody. The movements, the diversity of backgrounds, right? You can have someone whose parents are billionaires and you can have someone who's homeless, and both of those can succeed. Both those students can succeed. The playing field is level, and we give every kid the same amount of attention as any other kid, right?
Here, I got a good question here. This one might get you to think a little bit. What's something people outside track don't understand about the sport? You've kind of
Mm,
alluded to some of it, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah, totally, right? I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but I would say the culture, right? And what we were talking about this today, Matt and I were, you know, we're without a track this season, right? So who steps up and says, why don't you just come practice at our place with us? We'll make it work, right? Jamie Hines of Columbia Falls. So no one's making him do that. He did that out of the goodness of his heart and out of the goodness of, hey, we want to keep track and field competitive across the board, right? Like that's what track and field is. Track and field is like kind of this unique family, right? Of everybody has different skills, but everybody truly does care about one another. It's not as cutthroat as something like football or basketball where you're banging into the guy or the gal next to you.
Literally trying to take their head off.
Yeah, and that's what like Brooke Batuni Brooke and Haley, I think a few years ago they were looking at some times out of the Southwest. Like, oh my gosh, these girls are just they're running so fast and blah blah blah. And I'm a little nervous to race them when we were getting it. It was like their freshman or sophomore year, and when we were going to top 10, and I was like, guys, that's what you want, man. You want them to be running blazing fast times. So that when you race them and you're in the lane next to them, they're pushing you
Hmm.
against your times, right? And like,
Isn't it crazy how
it
this track's
is.
one of the few sports where, I mean, every sport's going to make you better, but literally when you're running next to someone, like you almost, it's like a second win that they give you.
Yeah.
It's weird.
You learn something new about yourself,
Hmm.
right? You get that second gear that, and we've been preaching a lot this year to a lot of our younger kids is like the first thing that's going to quit is your brain,
Yep.
not your body, right? Like your brain at some point in a 400 or an 800 or 300 hurdles or a mile or whatever it is, it's going to say, stop, stop, right?
Hmm.
You're pushing past what we're doing, right? This is not our
Hmm.
game plan, man. Stop, stop, stop. And for them to be able to go past that
Your
and they're
body has what,
competing against that.
20% in reserve usually once your mind gives up. It's
Yeah.
usually your body has like 20% left or something.
Correct. And so we talk about that in a lot of training. It's like if we can train that way, it'll naturally happen on the court or on the track.
And now, yeah, to be a fixture in the community, going to school here, now getting to teach here and everything, just that full circle moment. I mean, it's got to be pretty cool to be in the position that you're in this community, in this society and everything.
It is. And we want to keep whitefish, right? Like there's so many people that I know and I talk to, community members that are like, yeah, let's make this place what it was for you for the next generation. Right. And that's not just whitefish, that's this whole valley, right? Like you have coaches over there in Kimberly Falls. You have Jamie Hines, and I'm good friends with the sprint coach, Josiah Osborne. He thinks the same way, right? You go down the road to Flathead, Mac thinks the exact same way.
Hmm.
He's like, yo, let's make this something special, right? Like that's the goal. Let's make this something special for kids because they deserve it, but because they're gonna then go do that for other people
Yep.
as well.
Something that's cool that we're starting to see form, and I'll use baseball just because we're seeing baseball expand here. We saw Flathead and Glacier play their inaugural game. We've seen Whitefish and Flathead rivalry renewed in some aspect. Whitefish and Glacier facing off. I feel like that's something that can bleed out into everything else. Is the way that baseball is becoming big at the high school level here.
Yeah, and I love it, right? Like one of the fun things we had last year was going down to the Range Rider Stadium and watching our baseball team play at the
Hmm.
range. It's like, holy cow, this is so sweet. This is like a semi-pro, sub-pro field, and these guys are playing on it. So cool. And yeah, like shout out to Kyler and what he's done with the
Hmm.
program as well. But also, you're right. Like you have this rivalry now with Columbia Falls, right? And then now they have it down in Kalispell with
Yep.
Glacier and Flathead. It's like, you're seeing more kids from
Hopefully we
other
can get
schools.
Whitefish and Flathead back on the basketball schedule. Eric, come on. I know you're exploring it.
Someday.
And then something I didn't even ask is the rivalry between Whitefish and Sioux Falls. Now
Mhm.
you've seen it in both aspects. As a player, obviously you've seen from the outskirts when you left for a while to go to college and everything, and now you see it as a coach. Take me through that rivalry and maybe how it's changed in your eyes in terms of how you approach a Whitefish versus Sioux Falls battle. I know there's always still going to be angst and everything, but there's probably a greater appreciation for that rivalry as you've gotten older.
Oh, totally. And that's one of those small town Montana things that doesn't really exist outside of our little microcosm, right? It's kind of slowly dying. This idea of like communities that are so close competing against each other and having this rivalry, right? And for me, I always want to keep it healthy, right? There are boundaries that can be crossed with rivalries that I fully disagree with and I don't think should ever be crossed. But I think at the end of the day, what's kind of cool too with rivalries is we realize the human aspect of it as well. So there have been some tragedies in our community and tragedies in the Columbia Falls community.
Hmm.
And when it happens so close to home like that, it's really cool to see kids shed that us versus them mentality, which is cool and fun and competitive, right? But to see outside of athletics and to see outside of sports, right? And to kind of rally around causes and
Obviously,
um,
St. John's Root being one of
exactly.
the biggest. I mean, and to see now Whitefish and Sea Falls, they have formed the St. John's Root tournament. That's kind of what you're referencing,
It's
right?
cool. Yeah, it is.
Hmm.
And it's things that are bigger than athletics, right? It's on a human scale. And so I really like that. But I do like the competitive
I
aspect.
mean, yeah, when you're going up against Sea Falls, you never
Uh,
want to lose that game,
yeah, I
never.
mean, like any
You're
coach
gonna
here,
shake you're gonna shake their hands
correct,
afterwards.
correct. But like any coach will tell you here, it's like you circled that one
Yeah,
at the beginning of the season every year. It's a playoff game,
yep.
right? It's not a regular game. It's not playing Ronan. It's not playing Libby. It's not playing,
And you
whoever.
can't sugarcoat and say it's just another game because
No,
it's not.
no. I mean, when I was coaching with Scott Smith, the one games that we would dress up in a suit and tie for was Columbia
Yep.
Falls because it's a business. Like it is. It's a business trip when we go to Columbia Falls. We're there to take care of business. Now, sometimes we got our butt kicked. Sometimes we got to return some punches, right? But that's what's cool about the rivalry. It's not as one-sided, right? So this team will win and celebrate. This team will win and celebrate, and I hope they continue the tradition of defacing the wall kind of in the canyon and fun stuff like that, right? Like that, I don't think is crossing boundaries. But yeah, I think it's a fun rivalry. In track and field, it's different, right? It really is. Like if it ain't going to be us, I want it to be them, right?
Hmm.
Because one, we train with them a lot, or we see them so
Yep.
frequently. But I know a lot of the staff over at Columbia Falls, and they're really good people, and
Hmm.
a lot of the kids, right? You're interacting with the kids all the time, and you want to see those kids succeed as well, right? And we started the Stumptown Track Club in
Yep.
2023,
You
right?
know, we didn't even talk. I didn't even get a chance to ask you.
Oh, good. Yeah, but I mean, it is. It's still a small little thing, right? But it's cool. This was the first year that kids, a relay, went to went to indoor nationals, right? And we had one Whitefish kid, one Columbia Falls kid, one Flathead kid, and one Glacier kid, right? And
That's sweet.
it was so cool, right? And it's
Because
like,
that's the Flathead Valley. It's a valley. Yeah.
yeah, 100%, right? And you get to some of these kids, you got Will Hollensteiner and he's interacting with all of our kids. And you got Jet Brandenberry and he's interacting with all these kids. And then you go down there and you got the Glacier kid, you got Gabe
Hmm.
Madden and all these kids, right? And so you see them at these meets and you're like, this is so cool. It's so cool to watch Bristol Lynn's win the 100 hurdles at MCPS because she's involved in our program. And you just, you prey on the success of all of the kids in the valley, more so than a rivalry in anything
And
else.
it's cool to see going off that too, seeing former Valley like kids we grew up with or classmates we grew up with. Colin Fuller is coaching
Unreal.
over at Glacier. Connor Fuller, Glacier football. Your brother is coaching Flathead. You got former. I mean, you hear at the
Daniel Simmons,
yeah. I mean, there's
Taylor
so many
Furry.
former Flathead Valley guys that are in a sense giving back. It's just cool to see so many coaches that it's like, oh hey, I know him. Oh hey, I know him. Oh hey, I know him.
Yeah, and I hope that continues. I hope people want to come back here and be a coach, right? And be involved in these kids' lives. There's just it's diminishing all of the reasons to coach, right?
Hmm.
And the one that stands the strongest every single time is that you're there for the kids,
Yep.
right? And if we can get more people to kind of believe in that idea that we are there to see these kids improve as human beings, as young men and young women, it will continue to draw people to the profession. But yeah, I think it's getting to be a harder job, and fewer people are going into it. So I hope we can still get coaches that are strong men to lead strong men and strong women to lead strong women.
I love it. How about let's go some like quick spitfire ones, and then we'll get you out of here.
You got it.
Let's go back to like the days of growing up and everything. What was your favorite thing to do? July 15th, middle of summer, you and your brother get up. What's the first thing you would do?
Oh man, playing in the backyard, right? Throwing the baseball with my dad, but then we would play some pretty intense games of like trampoline basketball because we had it
Yeah.
right. And so it was like, and it was like to the death, right? I mean, like I think Tyler Blades could attest to this,
Hmm.
and Jacob Washer can
Yeah.
too. And like that's what we would be doing on a summer day is like just ripping each other's head off, playing basketball on the trampoline, classic stuff. Go biking down to the beach or getting ice cream and going to the footbridge and jumping off or all those fun things.
Yep, that was going to be my next question. Favorite like in-town activity? I mean, the Jack Zer fields that used to be over here. We'd always have games
How
going
many
on
times we have picnic
over
games,
there.
right? Or
Hmm.
in like Chase Anderson's
Yep.
backyard or Josh Shots or whatever. And it was like, yeah, dude, we would
Cody
just go get
Hill,
like,
we would
yeah,
practice out at like what was
totally.
it? Scott Murray had the
Yep.
the baseball field. We would
Yep.
literally go practice
And then go
there.
play that or play wiffle ball, right? And like, or play at the green courts over here, the blue courts, basketball, right? I mean, all of those cool, fun things that in our group, we were pretty cohesive. I mean,
Hmm.
every single sport we graduated with how many seniors
Yep.
that were in athletics. So yeah, I mean, those were just memories that I cherish.
Favorite collegiate arena or field that you competed at outside of Carroll?
Oh man, the Spire in Ohio, in Geneva, Ohio was sick. But I would say like like locally, the Kibbe Dome in Idaho is sick, right? It's a 300-meter. It's got everything. But I would say the most unique and probably, to be honest, my favorite is Idaho State, right? The
Okay.
whole arena,
Hmm.
and because it's a 200-meter banked track, but it is hardwood. Right. And so it's like
Ah,
running on a
okay.
basketball court that hasn't been finished. And so it's
Interesting.
got bounce to it. You have to wear these special needle spikes. It's on both sides. It's like the indoor football arena. Super cool. And just like an electric atmosphere too. I really liked Idaho State.
Favorite track in Montana outside of Whitefish, whether it's one that you've competed at or coached at?
Competed at Dornblazer in Missoula. I loved it. We always had a good meet for whatever reason in Dornblazer. And Grizzlies always put on an awesome thing. But I think in high school, and I always competed really well there. It was always divisionals in the ABC. So it was always like really warm out,
Olson.
nice out. Gosh dang it.
Hmm.
Olson is one of the most
Yeah,
beautiful football and
completely
track.
agree.
I mean, it is like every time we go there, it's like, how are we so lucky to have this view behind high jump?
Hmm.
Right. Or like, they're running, and now they got a really nice, cool track. It's like gray and
It's a
purple.
and it's a PR track. It really is.
So cool. And yeah, and the wind blows just the right
Hmm.
direction, and yeah, so I would say, and Polson puts on a good meet too.
How about I don't know if you'll give me a specific answer. Favorite athlete you've ever coached?
Oh man, dude, that's so impossible to
I
say.
figured.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many, and I think I would piss all of them off if I said not their name, right? Um, yeah, I mean, it's the late nights, them texting you or calling you and saying, "Hey, can you open up the weight room for me?" Right? And not late nights, but like 6 p.m. right on a Saturday, and they're like, "I just need to get in and get lifting," and so I would go lift with them. Or I would get emails all the time or text messages from previous athletes that are in college, and they're like, "Can we come lift when we're on break or when
Hmm.
after our season ends?" Right? I'm like, "Absolutely." Like if I have my track team out there in the gym and they watch Lee Walburn, McKenna Els, Aaron Wild, Haley Els, Talon Holmquist, and Dylan Botner walk through, I'm like, yeah, that's like you guys have just watch what they're doing in the weight
Yeah.
room and do exactly that.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I've been so lucky. The best part about Whitefish High School is the kids, 100%.
How about the
athletes.
next great Whitefish athlete?
I don't know.
I got a couple that I can name.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're seeing a lot of success this year from our young kids, right? Um, I would say on the girls' side, and watching her in volleyball and watching her in girls' basketball, and now watching her on the track, Avery Orm is
Yep.
special, right?
Hmm.
She is athlete through and through. And again, that's not to say anything else about some of our other young women. It's just
She's different.
It's been a minute
She's
since
an
you've
Ashley
seen
Furta.
somebody.
She is a Dawn
Gosh, you're right,
Siliker.
dude. And she puts the work in, right?
Hmm.
And that's what people don't see is, they see the talent, but that girl, I mean, she does. She plays year round, right? And she's always active and she's always shooting in the gym. And, I mean, she's also a really good kid,
Here's a
right?
stat that'll blow your mind. Avery Orm, if I have my stats right and all, which I'm still trying to figure all this out, because there's only been maybe 5 1,000-point scorers in Whitefish girls basketball history.
Yeah.
Avery Orm is on pace to score the most points in Whitefish girls, but she had 400 points her
Oh my
freshman
gosh.
year scored. To give you an idea, Ashley Furta is second all time. She has 1,200.
Holy cow. Yeah, and that was something we didn't know in the fall, right? Like I talked to her mom parent teacher conferences about track and field, and I was like, realistically speaking, the next level is track and field for a lot of these kids, right?
Mhm.
It just is. We haven't had like a next level basketball player in a really long time. And just so you know, that's the reality, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then I watched her on the basketball court and I was like, I have no idea what I'm talking about because that girl is she is next level basketball.
I've never seen a girl that can jump like that.
Oh my goodness! And then to watch it on the track, you're like,
Mhm.
this is special.
Willie, I think that's all I got for you. You have officially made this the longest podcast episode I've done so far.
I love it. Look at you.
And it feels like we've been talking for an hour. It feels like we've been talking for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I love it. I really.
Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, man. I love my community, and I love the people that I work with and the people that I get to coach. Yeah, I would say it was special that my brother was able to move back to the Valley, and watching him coach is really special as well. But yeah, another thing that a lot of people don't necessarily they take for granted is the spouses of coaches, right? I mean, it takes a lot to be a coach's spouse. Really, they do. I mean, emotionally, physically. I'm at the track every single day or whatever, and I have a 2-year-old son, and my wife was with him for 2.5 hours. So it's like there's a special thing with coaches' spouses. They are superheroes. They are rock stars. So I just want community members or whoever's listening out there to understand that like there are people that are behind the scenes that are working 4 times as hard as that coach is. So.
Perfect. That's all we got for today, Willie. Thanks again for joining me, and yeah, good luck the rest of the year.
I love it. Thanks, Cole.